Alright guys, today is an episode of The Best of the Rest, but it is international edition. Ooh. Right, first game we'll do is Scotland v Ukraine. Ukraine won 3-1 and thus made it to the final of the World Cup qualification playoffs. And they were the better side, Ukraine. That's much as easy to say, really. Scotland didn't really create anything at all until about 60 minutes in. Ukraine got the first goal through Andrew Yarmolenko. He came close to scoring a few minutes before, actually, as well. They had a shot from close range where he's just took a touch and hit it on the spin. Should have done a bit better, in my opinion. He had either corner to pick out, but hit it straight at Craig Gordon. It still managed to squeeze through Gordon, but he got back just in time before it trickled over the line. And he scored a few minutes later. And this goal was really well taken, ball over the top. And I think Scotland sort of showed that they're not a top side in the way that they held their defensive line. Like the one of the centre backs stepped forward. I can't remember who it was. It was the player between Grant Hanley and Andy Robertson. Steps forward and allows that space for Yarmolenko to run in behind. Brilliant take, first touch. In fact, his first touch took it behind him a little bit. But if it had taken it to where he wanted it to take it, Craig Gordon would have anticipated it and taken the ball off him. But because it was slightly behind him, it gave him that room to dink it over Gordon, and it sunk in just below the crossbar to make it 1-0. And then start the second half, Ukraine start on top again. Cross comes in and Roman Yaremchuk rises above Scott McTominay to head it in. Grant Hanley couldn't quite reach it or to clear it off the line. At that point you're thinking, there's no way Scotland are coming back into this. But it took a moment, just like out of nothing moment really, where Ukraine's goalkeeper had the ball. Not under much pressure, but Callum McGregor charges him down, and he charges him down, and the goalkeeper whacks it into him, and it could have gone anywhere. It could have gone into the top corner, but it went just wide. And then that sort of woke Scotland up a bit, and they started having a go. If they'd have started doing that maybe 20, 25 minutes, or even at the start of the game, preferably, then they probably wouldn't have been in the mess they found themselves in. They did manage to pull a goal back with 10-15 minutes to go through McGregor. He had a rebound shot. The goalkeeper had come out for it. He punched it away, but it wasn't a great punch. It fell to McGregor, and it was a decent strike, but the goalkeeper shouldn't be letting that slip through his fingers, and it bounced across the line. The defender looked like he might have got there, but on goal line technology, obviously, it showed that he didn't quite make it, and that made it 2-1. And at that point, you're thinking, it's going to be a bit of a nervy finish here for Ukraine. But they managed to get one more on the counter-attack just before the end of the game through, I think it was Dovbyk. And it was poor defending once again from Scotland, in particular Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson is the one player in the Scotland team who you would say is probably a world-class footballer. It was poor defending, especially for a player who plays in a team that are known for playing a defensive line really well. And he just got caught sleeping and played Dovbyk onside. He goes through on goal and slots it past Craig Gordon to make it 3-1 and finish the game off completely. And it was a massive result for Ukraine. Once again, Scotland still showed that, for me, they're not quite on the level of England or even Wales yet. Far from it. It was a good game to watch. Then Italy and Germany on Saturday played out a 1-1 draw, and there were a couple of players I wanted to have a look at in this game. Scamacca being one of them for Sassuolo and Italy. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's Sassuolo, or he was. Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, Germany were the more dominant side in the game. In fact, first off, Italy's only real shot on goal came from Scamacca failing to do a back heel, and then it going the other side of the defender, and he gets shot off, and it's the outside of the post. But Serge Gnabry had the Italian defence pretty much on strings first off. Some of his dribbling was amazing, but the one opportunity that did fall his way, he completely shanked over the bar, miles over. Terrible attempt, and that came from the Germans just faffing around with the ball in the penalty area and not getting a shot off in the first place, which they probably would have scored from in the position they were in. Goretzka's shooting was also leaving a lot to be desired. I think he had 3 attempts in the first half, all were off target. And then in the second half, Italy brought on a player called Gnonto, who I've never watched before, but he made a real impact on the game, putting a brilliant cross after taking on, I can't remember who it was at left back for Germany, might have been Kehrer. He crosses it in, and Pellegrini's at the back post to tap it in, but it was a superb cross. He couldn't have put it in any better. It was one of them where Donnarumma doesn't want to go for it, and not Donnarumma, sorry, the German goalkeeper doesn't want to go for it, and the German defender doesn't want to go for it either. And Pellegrini's there at the back post to stick it in the back of the net. And Germany, to be fair to them, did respond well to it, getting the ball forward, and they caused problems in the Italian penalty area, and the ball eventually fell to Joshua Kimmich, who side-footed it into the back of the net. Fairly simple finish for a player of his calibre. But yeah, that made it 1-1, and it was... Germany definitely had a stronger side out. So I think Italy had rested quite a few players because I don't think any of the players who played in that Italian team, especially in attack, were players who started at the Euros last summer for Italy. Scamacca certainly didn't. They didn't have Barella, Jorginho, or Verratti. No. Berardi either, or Immobile or Insigne. Politano played all right as well, though he was a replacement for some of them players, and he came close in the second half, nearly whipped one in right into the top corner. Would have been a screamer of a goal. But yeah, it wasn't the greatest game to watch, to be honest. Although, having said that, it was better than the game before that at Hungary v England. Jesus Christ, England was shocking in that game. But yeah, this group should be interesting now, because you would have said before it started England probably the favourites for it. But now England have obviously dropped points, dropped 3 of them in fact. And Italy and Germany both shared the points in their first game. And Hungary have actually won their first game, and they were the favourites to finish bottom. So this group should be quite interesting to watch from here on in. Obviously, there's still 5 match days to go, but yeah, it should be an exciting group. I also was keeping an eye on Serge Gnabry just in case he does come to Liverpool, which I wouldn't mind, to be honest. I think he's a very good player. Obviously, the link there is Sadio Mane would be going the other way to Bayern Munich. But yeah, I'd certainly take Serge Gnabry at Liverpool. I think he's a very, very good player. And yeah, it wasn't the greatest game to watch. That's my honest opinion of it. Yeah. And then finally, last night, Wales beat Ukraine by a 1-0. And I sort of support Wales as like a second nation, if that makes sense, because I'm born in England, but I definitely have like some Welsh ancestry somewhere along the line. I know that. So I wanted them to win. But before I talk about this game, I want to talk about the people like Graham Souness who are saying that FIFA should send Ukraine to the World Cup. No, not a chance. You get to the World Cup on merit and merit only. For me, that's like ridiculous. Like, how can you be against the European Super League, but at the same time also want a nation to be sent to the World Cup just because they are suffering incredibly, like badly because of what is happening right now in the world. Well, in between them and Russia specifically. Russia have been banned. That's the main thing. I think Ukraine. I think it'd be a bit disrespectful to Ukraine to send them. To be honest, to the players, that is, because you don't want to go to. Well, you do, but you want to feel as though you've earned going to a World Cup. Is what my point is. But yeah, anyway, into the actual game, the goal came from a Gareth Bale free kick, which was probably just going just wide. It was sort of like a cross shot. He didn't quite keep it on target, but he put it in a dangerous area, and Yarmolenko diverted it into his own net. It was one of them where it's a tough situation, especially as a player who's not a defender. You don't know what to do. But then I thought Ukraine was slightly hard done by because they should have probably had a penalty when Joe Allen was taking a bit too much time on the ball inside his own area. Yarmolenko nips in front, gets the ball, and Joe Allen does kick him on the bottom of the foot. And I think that probably should have been a penalty, to be honest. Wales did get a touch of fortune there, definitely. And yeah, from then on, Wales, it was just a brilliant defensive performance, especially from Wayne Hennessy and Ben Davies. They're two players I want to point out. Ben Davies was getting in front of absolutely everything. Really good performance from him, and Hennessy made some vital saves. Wales did have a few attacks, though, in the second half. The two times they came closest to scoring was when Aaron Ramsey provided a bit of a poor finish to what would have been an excellent goal because of the movement, like Dan James to Kiefer Moore, who squared it to Ramsey and he put it wide. He should have done better. And then Brennan Johnson came off the bench and he hit the post just after coming on. Bale also has a chance. And I also noticed, like, with Martin Tyler now, a lot of people say that he's become very boring, like there's no excitement to his voice. But when that ball fell for Gareth Bale with 10 minutes to go, and he struck it quite well, but the Ukraine keeper saved it. You could just hear, like, the Bale in Tyler's voice, and yeah, he's still up for it on special occasion, Martin Tyler is. But yeah, Ukraine they gave it everything, didn't they? And fair play to them. But there's no way they should be sent to the World Cup, in my opinion. It just doesn't feel right. I don't think. But yeah, brilliant for Wales. First time they're going to a World Cup for 64 years. So that is, like, obviously the majority of the nation has never seen them at a World Cup. So yeah, that'll be ace for them because it's not even like the players, the people who are 65 have seen them there. They don't remember it if they were born in 1957. It's only the 70-year-olds and above who remember Wales at a World Cup. Isn't it? So yeah, it's massive for them. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.